Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. It's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content, and today's video is going to be about clone fragrances that if I had to start my collection all over again with all the knowledge that I've gathered in the past few years, I'll immediately add to my collection. So the order that I'm going to show you the fragrances featured in today's video will be from the cheapest one at the time that I paid for it, working my way up to the most expensive ones at the time that I bought them. And probably the cheapest fragrance that's included in today's video comes from the brand of Maison Alhambra, and it's called Cassius, and this fragrance of course is a clone of Parfum de Marly's Carlisle. Now, I absolutely love the original fragrance. It's a very nice, very dark, very sophisticated scent. The scent that has absolutely beastly performance. And Cassius actually gets pretty close to the original one. Now, that's more on the dry down. The opening is slightly different. This one feels a little bit more boozy, feels less spicy and less dark compared to the original fragrance, which can be a good thing because the original can be a bit challenging in the opening. But other than that, this, especially on the dry down, gets quite close to the original one from Parfums de Marly. I personally paid about 14-15 euros to get Cassius, and at that price point I have absolutely no regret because this will get you close to the original fragrance. This has a very good performance, and especially after some maceration gets quite close to the original one, has pretty decent quality and all that, as I said, for about 14-15 euros. So what more you can ask from a clone fragrance. The next one featured in today's video comes from the brand of Fragrance World, and it's called Harmony Code Absolute, and this one of course is a clone of Armani's Code Absolute. Now, the original fragrance was a great release, a great flanker of the Code line, but unfortunately, just like many of the other great flankers from that line, has been discontinued. It's very hard to find, but the good thing is that Fragrance World came up with this fragrance, and it smells very similar to the original one. Will get you very close scent wise, and it also has a very decent performance and quality and all that for a very affordable price. This usually costs somewhere between 20 to 25 euros, again making it a superb deal considering how much you have to pay for a full bottle of the original scent. It's sweet, it's powdery, it's slightly fruity, there's a leather note in here. It's a very sexy fragrance that just works great in cold weather, and I really like this one. And again, this is a fantastic release from the brand of Fragrance World. So the next suggestion in today's video is Harmony Code Absolute. The next one featured in today's video comes from the brand of Armaf, and it's part of the TAC line, and it's called Tacchim Uomo Rosso. Price-wise, this is pretty similar to what I paid for a Harmony Code Absolute. It's roughly about 20-25 euros here in Europe. And this one is very heavily inspired by Paco Rabanne's Invictus Victory Elixir. Smells very similar to the original fragrance, maybe has a slightly different opening, slightly more sort of a citrusy opening, but the scent itself is all about that sweetness, that modern scent profile of the original scent that you have. Vanillic sweetness, amber sweetness, maybe a hint of a coconut note. Very nice, very sexy fragrance, again great for cold weather. This one has a very good quality considering again how cheap it is. Also has a very decent performance, not on par with the original but still quite close scent wise and performance wise, and all that for a very affordable price, as long as you can get past this very ugly looking bottle that is done in the usual Armaf way. But again, if I have to start all over again collecting, definitely Tacchim Uomo Rosso will be one of the first fragrances that I'll get. The next one comes from the brand of Al Watania, and it's one of the best clones that you can actually get. It's called Cayenne Classic, and this one is a clone of one of my most favorite fragrances, men's fragrances, which is Dior Homme Intense. And to this day, this also remains probably the closest thing to Dior Homme Intense that you can get. Smells very similar to the original fragrance. I cannot explain how close it actually smells to the original. To my nose, there's just a hint of difference between this one and the original fragrance, and that's down to the fact that this just feels like having a slightly stronger sort of a chocolatey vibe in the opening and on the dry down compared to the original one. Other than that, smelling pretty much identical, especially in the air. It's powdery thanks to the iris note, just like the original fragrance. It's a bit musky thanks to the, you know, the musky note in here. It's there's a sweet pear note in this one. It's all around a very, very nice fragrance. I absolutely love the original, and Alwatania is absolutely great. Super high quality when it comes to the whole packaging, when it comes to the scent itself, the bottle, and the performance is also very, very decent. At the time that I got this one, it cost me about 25 euros, and at that price point I think it's an absolute steal. The next one comes from the brand of Afnan, and it's probably to this day their most popular fragrance, and of course I'm talking about 9 p.m. This is one of the very first clones that I had that I added to my collection, and if I had to start all over again, this will be again one of the very first clones that I will add all over again. It's a very, very nice fragrance. It's a clone of Jean Paul Gaultier Ultra Mauve, but with a bit of a twist. Afnan have replaced the original sweet pear note with slightly fresher, slightly less sweet apple note. Apart from that, this is very, very similar. You got the minty freshness, you got the vanillic sweetness, the lavender. Again, smells very, very similar, apart from the first few minutes in the opening where this feels a little bit fresher. My bottle is a little bit an older batch. It has absolutely fantastic performance and projection, and again just smells absolutely great. I love the original fragrance, and I really love 9 p.m. Now we're moving up a little bit through the price ladder, and now I'm going to go over a few fragrances that were a little bit more expensive at the time that I bought them. The next one comes again from the brand of a Fragrance World, and it's called Jack of Clubs, and this one is a clone of YSL Y La Nuit de L'Homme Blue Electric, but can also serve as a alternative to the OG La Nuit de L'Homme. It's a great fragrance, and it's my most favorite clone of Blue Electric that I have in my collection. I have like 4 or 5 at this point. All of them are pretty good, but Jack of Clubs is my most favorite one. Again, doesn't feel like a straight up clone. This has a bit of a twist, has slightly less freshness in the opening. I don't pick up a ginger note or a strong ginger note as the original. This has a little bit more citrusy freshness in the opening, maybe feels a little bit sweeter on the dry down, but all around smells very similar in the air, has really nice quality. It comes interestingly packaged, and I really like it for what it offers. The next one comes from the brand of Lattafa, and it's called Vintage Radio, and this one is a clone of Initial's Paragon. And I absolutely love the original fragrance, and I absolutely love Vintage Radio from Lattafa. Smells very similar to the original one. The scent can be pretty much summarized by the fact that this has a very juicy, sweet plum note that doesn't feel overly sweet. There's a bit of freshness in this one. You get some nice oats in here, a bit of spices, but it's all down to the mix of that you know, plum note and the woodiness in this fragrance. Smells super pleasant in the air, very uplifting scent that has a very nice quality. It's perfectly unisex in my opinion, can work as a signature scent, can be worn all year round, has very good performance, comes in an interesting looking bottle. All around a very lovely creation from Lattafa. So if I had the chance to start all over again, definitely Vintage Radio will be one of the very first fragrances that I'll add to my collection. The next one comes from the brand of French Avenue, and it's called Raw Blend, and this is a clone of Kilian's Angel Share. And to my nose, from what I've tried clone wise of Angel Share, I've tried probably around about 10 clones of Angel Share, this probably smells the closest to the original fragrance. It has almost exactly the same amount of the cognac boozy note in the opening, the spices, the sweetness, this vanillic and ambery sweetness, some date sweetness, maybe a hint of a mandarin or an orange note in here. Very lovely fragrance that smells super close to the original scent. Again, probably the closest to the original that I've tried. Has superb quality, has superb performance, comes nicely packaged, and all that for a pretty decent price of around about 40-45 euros. At that price point, given what you get in return performance and quality wise, I think it's worth it. The next one again comes from the brand of French Avenue, and it's one of those scents that I didn't really like at first when I first tried it, but it's been growing on me in the past few months, and nowadays I just cannot think of you know, not having this one in my collection. It's called Liquid Brune, and this of course is the most hyped up clone of Parfum de Marly's Altair. Smells very similar to the original fragrance, and it's this mix of a strong vanilla note, a strong cinnamon note, a bit of orange blossom, some ouds, and of course lots and lots of ambroxan. Initially, when I first got this, I wasn't a huge fan, but you know, maceration did its thing on the scent of this fragrance, and about 2 or 3 months down the road, this smells absolutely fantastic, and I really like it a lot. It offers fantastic performance. It has super high compliment factor. Believe me, ladies love the smell of liquid broom. It's a compliment getter, and all around this is a very nice scent. Unfortunately, because of the amount of hype, the prices have steadily risen on this one. I had to pay around about 50, maybe even close to 55 euros to get it. But still, even at that price point, I think that liquid broom is worth it for what you get in return. So the next one featured in today's video is liquid broom. The next one comes from the brand of Orientica, and it's yet another clone of a Parfums de Marly scent, and in this case I'm talking about Royal Blue from Orientica, and this fragrance is a clone of the original Layton. And again, just like with French, Royal Blend and Angel Share, at this point in time I've tried and I own quite a few, you know, Layton clones. Some of them are really nice, but if I have to choose just one, you know, and keeping in mind a few facts, like a few reasons like performance, quality of the scent, price point, how close it is to the original, probably for me Royal Blue is sort of the best middle ground out of all good clones of Layton that I've tried. Smells very similar to Layton, maybe feels slightly less green and less spicy in the opening, slightly sweeter, but other than that super close to the original fragrance. Quality is absolutely fantastic on the scent itself. Performance is great, pretty much on par with the original fragrance. It's a little bit more expensive. You can also go with another clone from this very same brand, which is called Exclusive Oud Blue, which is an absolute beast, but it's more expensive and you get less juice because this bottle is 80 milliliters and the other one is 60. But again, the best balance between all the important factors for me are in favor of a Royal Blue from Orientica. And the last one that I'm going to feature in today's video is the most expensive fragrance that I'm featuring today, at least for me personally when I purchased this one. It's called Aslan Oud Blue Edition, and this one comes from the brand of Al Haramain, and it's a clone of Dior Sauvage Elixir, and in my opinion this is the best clone of Sauvage Elixir that you can get. I'm talking about the quality especially. Doesn't feel like super close to the original fragrance, maybe lacks just a little bit of the spiciness up top, and on the dry down feels just a hint sweeter than the original fragrance, but in the air smells pretty similar, almost identical. But what you get in return, again, we're talking about superb quality. It's an extrait de parfum concentration. It's almost as beastly as the original fragrance. It comes really nicely packaged. You get a pressurized sprayer, you get a magnetic cap, which is probably one of the strongest magnetic caps that I've seen you know, in my fragrance journey. And again, to this day, I think this is the highest quality clone of a Dior Sauvage Elixir that you can get. So Aslan Oud Blue Edition from Al Haramain is the last fragrance featured in today's video. And so guys, there they are. 11 fragrances that I'll immediately get if I had to start my collection all over again. I hope that you found this video interesting or helpful. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.